And hello, and welcome everyone to the comic multiverse where the worlds of nerd meet. We're back again, Matt. A day early, we're pre-recording this. We're not live for the first time in a while because of scheduling conflicts, but I'm glad we could get it all done and come together.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm glad you were able to do this early for me since I've got to go to work tomorrow and whatnot. But yeah, it's kind of weird doing like a pre-recorded show because I'm in control of everything. I don't have to worry about like, oh, is the chat working? Is this working? Is that working?
Especially, too, as we get closer and closer to 200 episodes.
Absolutely. This is what, 193?
Yes, this is how the show used to be back in the day before we went live, so it's a weird feeling to go back to pre-recorded.
Yeah.
In fact, we weren't even going to do this originally. We were going to do a commentary, and then a bunch of news actually dropped, and it's like, yeah, we probably can't wait a week. We should probably talk about this now.
It was funny because it was literally like a couple of hours after I suggested we do a commentary, and then they're like, oh, all this big news, this really big news that really can't wait an extra week.
Yeah, and I was all like, yeah, good idea, Matt. Let's do a commentary. I've been promising, one of our top patrons for a while now that he'll get the movie he asked for. And, yeah, we'll get to do that. So we'll have to make him wait a little bit longer, but we're going to play around with some numbers and shit before we get to 200.
Yeah, we're going to cook the books a little bit.
Yeah, going to cook the books just a little bit there. Everybody's doing it. Just do it a little bit. But, yeah, I guess with that being said, how was your week, Matt? Have you been attacking and dethroning God as much as I have?
A little bit, yeah. I've been doing that old Assassin's Creed a lot.
I know, right? Like, don't you love when you see a good hashtag on Twitter and I'm like, oh, this is delicious. I hope this sticks around for a bit. And so many people were quick to come up with an image like, what do you think of the phrase attack and dethrone God? Well, that sounds like a Persona game. Well, that sounds like this anime. Yeah, I like that. It does sound a bit like Assassin's Creed. Let us attack and dethrone God.
Especially Assassin's Creed Odyssey, where you literally do fight the Greek gods.
You literally do, and in fact, hey, that's a good segue, Matt, to Assassin Talk.
Assassin Talk. I know we've both been playing it all this weekend.
Yes, our podcast within a podcast as we get excited for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I'm again reminded, oh yeah, it's Ubisoft, and Ubisoft could still fuck it up as we get closer, but
Yeah, they could.
Let us enjoy this happiness now before we get to that point. I figured out this week you can actually change the the actual appearance of all your items. So I
wanted to talk to you about that because I've been doing that like on and off like since I started playing.
That's an amazing feature. I love that you can change every piece of your outfit to match your own personal style and whatever you're going for. That's great. Apparently that's not going to be back for Valhalla. Apparently they're trying out a new gear system because the gear system in Origins was very light. The gear system in Odyssey was very heavy. And apparently they're trying to go for a thing in like Valhalla where it's like, no, you pick what you like and you can stick with it.
Yeah, the one thing I really liked about Origins was that with the gear system, you could upgrade your gear and then it would upgrade on the character. Like there would be a change in like how the armor looks and everything. And
that was nice.
The base I guess rags or like cloth that he would wear don't really count towards armor or anything. And they took that out in Odyssey, which I was really bummed about. But I didn't know they had this.
See my character visually, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know they had this system where you could basically like, oh, you like these type of braces, but they're weaker, but you can use the visual concept of them on these braces. I thought that was actually pretty cool.
It is cool. What is it? I'm almost level 20 now, but before I even go to the next mission, I'm stopping at every individual island and trying to kill cultists on my way to the next thing, and you can just fall down like whole hours you can lose just doing that. So mercenaries ain't shit anymore.
No, they're so. Last night I fought 5 at once and killed them all.
Like early on, that's like, ooh, a mercenary's coming. They're stronger than you. Now it's like, no, I've leveled up all my stuff and I know how to take shields away and poison and do everything else. Mercenaries ain't shit. In fact, bring them on because they drop the best gear and money.
Yeah.
Something that is sick And I don't know if you caught up to this either, where it's like, ooh, you can actually pick your loadout. I'm like, ooh, what a great system, because, weapons and armor are either hunter, assassin, or warrior. That's cool. I love having a build out. And, it makes it so, I'll keep more of my stuff. Yeah, if you want the first loadout slot, that'll cost you 5,000 in-game gold, and then 35,000 for a third one. And I'm like, get fucked, or Assassin's Creed. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, I'm not sure why it costs it. They should have made it so that it was like a quest line you had to follow, or like you unlock this, like Origins had it kind of right where you unlock slots when you reach a certain level, where they kind of do it here, but then there's also that one where it's like, oh, you unlock it at this level, but you got to pay us money as well.
You know what? Yeah, that's exactly why they did. I'm like, oh, because Ubisoft sucks. That's why. And they're like, look, you could reasonably grind this out, or you could pay us some real world money for in-game perks. Same with the ship too, where it's like you will always need so much money and so much wood. I'm like, but I just want to unlock the thing so I can have all the lieutenants. No, pay me, no. And also there's Oraculum, but there's only one place so far I found where you can spend it and it's not fucking worth it, because you're getting new shit so often and your numbers will always be higher. I guess that's why I like, or am enjoying myself so much so far, because I don't know if you know this, Matt, but I like it when number go up.
When number go up, good.
Yeah, when number go up, it good. It, tickles that part of my lizard brain. And literally, that's all Assassin's Creed Odyssey is so far, like 20 hours into it. Number go up, number go up.
Yeah. It's definitely too, like, I've completed, I think I'm about level 20 as well. I've just been hunting cultists. I've completed one line of the cultists. Nice. But yeah, everything's just so large. It's like there's too much. Like, I was looking at the map and I'm like, oh, I've been playing for a little bit. I should have explored oh no, I haven't explored anything.
And, they say Valhalla is going to be a little bit smaller. It's going to be a little closer to Origins. Because, let's face it, once you've run around one piece of the Greek countryside, you've kind of seen it all.
Yeah. I hate running around that countryside. The cities are where it's at.
Yeah, the cities are a lot nicer, and there's some very cool shit there, to be sure. Also, again, I'm still early in the game, but it's like how many ancient Greek celebrities have they been able to pull out? Because in all those other games, it's like, oh, look, it's, friggin', what is it? It's
Cleopatra and all that.
Yeah, it's like, it's Cleopatra, or here's, Carl Jung, or, all these people from history class. Here, I think Herodotus is the first one. It's like, who was Herodotus again? Oh, well, he was a ancient historian, maybe one of the first, but no one really remembers him so much as they remember, Homer, who wrote fiction, not history. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and you got Socrates and Alcibiades and all these people.
They've mentioned Xerxes a bunch, but I don't think you actually see Xerxes in the main game. I think you see one of his descendants in one of the DLC.
In the DLC, the first of the blade, Darius, the guy who kills him.
Right, with the first guy with the first hidden blade, because again, oops, we gotta keep that part of history, because your guy doesn't get a hidden blade in this one. He gets the Spear of Leonidas, because technically we've already wrote that comes later. So if he got a hidden blade, that would fuck everything up.
And the spear is kind of that, because it kind of looks like the hidden blade, and it also looks like the assassin symbol, which doesn't make any sense because the assassin symbol doesn't come out yet.
Yeah, that doesn't happen until Origins, and even how they come to that weird symbol in Origins is like, really? That's what? Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of an arsehole, that symbol.
Really, it fell on the sand, and they're like, that's good, let's do that one. And also, too, it's like, so historically, Bayek wasn't really an assassin. Maybe the DLC changes it, but it's like, really, his wife was more of the assassin than him. He was kind of an assassin on the weekends, is what you were saying. Oh, well, but, yeah, that's assassin talk for you, everybody. Be sure to come back next week for the podcast within a podcast. as we talk more, and I'm sure we'll talk more maybe when Ubisoft finally decides to open up and show us some real in-game footage and not just a cinematic trailer they called in-game footage.
Yeah, a cinematic trailer and concept art, which is gameplay trailers, apparently.
Oops, we done an Ubisoft again. We've been bad, but all right, I guess with that out of the way, we can talk about our first big story of the week. Maybe one of the biggest stories in comics this year. This, the word "this will change everything" gets thrown a lot way too frequently, but this is a piece of news that, mark my words, will indeed actually change everything.
Oh, yeah.
And that is, of course, DC Comics has announced this week that they are going to be splitting with Diamond Distributors, breaking up an arrangement they've had for decades now.
Yeah, it was. I know we kind of speculated on it happening, and we weren't sure whether it would, but yeah, I guess what DC are doing right now with all these digital comics and how they're putting it out through like those two distributors, I guess it's making them money or working for them.
Yeah, I mean, as we have said on this show many times before, the problem with Diamond as a distribution chain is they are out of date, they are living in the past, they don't service the community and the fan base like they should, but Marvel and DC, the big two, seemed, so completely married to them and the old way of doing business that they were completely fine propping them up and allowing Diamond to basically have a monopoly. And I say basically because if you have Marvel and DC, you basically have a monopoly. No offense to, Image or Dark Horse or IDW or anything, but they're not moving the product, the other two are.
No, absolutely not. And yeah, go ahead.
Or no, I was like, and even together.
Oh yeah, even together, they don't match Marvel or DC.
They're a fraction of a fraction, and I mean, I felt like, we've also been saying forever that, like, Diamond had to have been broken up eventually, that, sooner or later someone would wise up to that they were getting a raw deal or that there's better ways to do it. I really didn't think it would take a worldwide pandemic to get that job done, but here we are.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, like, in some alternate history where we never had this pandemic, like, nothing would have changed. Nothing would have, like, would something have eventually come along and changed? Maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, would it have just been business as usual? And in fact, this reveals something that I never even really considered before, where it's like, is the real reason Marvel and DC didn't do this not because they couldn't imagine a better world or a better way of doing things, but because they were so lazy they didn't want to change the way they did things?
Maybe. I also have a feeling it has something to do because when Diamond shut down, like, it was very obvious that they couldn't survive for a long period of time having to keep paying out to like Marvel and DC and all that. Yeah. And so they had to suspend the payments because they weren't shipping anything. And I have a feeling that probably factored in heavily in DC's like, well, you're not giving us money. Why do we have to keep you around?
I mean, not even them. Diamond wasn't even paying their own people.
Yeah.
Was the thing. It's like they had to stop paying their people very early on into this, where it's like, oh, wow, are you actually in that bad a shape? And for only doing it for the short amount of time that they were, DC put together not one but two new companies to handle distribution for all of North America. One of them was also handled by Midtown Comics, which of course had a big giant ass warehouse and good infrastructure for doing it anyway. I guess they'd only been doing it for a couple months, and in my mind the idea was, oh, we're just gonna do this until Diamond can get back on its feet and the world gets back to normal. Well, now Diamond ain't said boo. We're going on 3 months of pandemic and quarantine, and DC has books to do and a job to do. So yeah, they were just willing to break it, which they were able to do because, as I researched this a little further, their contract had come up anyway, or was close to coming up.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the stars aligned a little bit for them all, that they were able to do this. And it's interesting because, to my knowledge, as of us recording this, I don't think Marvel has said anything about this, because nope. I would imagine they're probably quick to follow suit after this.
You would think so, yeah. They have been wildly quiet. Yeah, I mean, it had looked like before, when DC started putting into motion to get their own distribution chain started, Marvel was kind of adopting a wait-and-see approach to it, because Marvel so far has put out way less comics than DC, as DC's had their digital stuff. They had another week this week of new releases, and yeah, it looked like Marvel was just going to wait and see, but now DC has essentially forced their hand, and when doing so is, sending seismic shockwaves throughout the comic book industry and the way things are done. I am sure they are having many conversations now internally at Marvel in order to stay competitive. Are they going to have to do the same now? And if so, how are they going to do it?
Yeah, it's definitely very interesting. This could be like a great way for both companies to sort of like come together and sort of pool resources a little bit to sort these those two distribution companies out a little bit more. And yeah, that would be really nice. It would also mean maybe getting a crossover or two from them, maybe.
Wouldn't that be beautiful? And I mean, as hard as it is, what is it for Diamond itself? The actual store owners and everything, they let their voices be heard this week, and they were not happy with this, if only for the simple fact that now they have to deal with two completely different companies to get their stock and get their books. And look, I get it. I'm a lazy man myself. I know doing two things is harder than doing one thing, but some of these store owners, you would think the world is coming to an end, which in fairness, if you've been closed up for 3 months, this is just one more thing you don't need. But yeah.
Yeah, it's been very weird how people have been reacting to this. There've been people who have been praising it, people who, like we've just said, lazy kind of store owners who don't want to have to fill out an extra form.
Yeah.
What I'm really looking forward to is seeing how it affects them on an international scale, because like my country, comic book, we had to deal with Diamond as well here.
Right.
So, and at the best of times, it was very vague on when we'd get comic books. We get them weekly, but you're never really sure. The people I've talked to, you're never really sure when that's coming in.
Naturally.
So what does that mean for now that DC books, do they not carry them now? Do they have to go somewhere else? Like, what's happening with the international fucking distribution?
I mean, I know they've been more vocal about North America, but I do believe DC did say they had plans. They didn't explain it in any detail, but no, I don't think they're going to leave the rest of the world in the lurch. They can't. Comics are a small, insulated medium. You can't be cutting out the rest of the world.
Yeah, and as well as like it doesn't really concern me much, because I do get comics physically, but mainly stick to digital thanks to reviewing and stuff.
It makes our jobs easier.
But yeah, it is always nice to go into a comic book shop every now and then and pick up something physical, and I really want that to continue.
Definitely, and it's like that was always what Free Comic Book Day was for, and that's something we're not going to have this year, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And then, of course, as with every big, changing of the guard like this, you have the conspiracy theorists out in force being like, oh, DC pulling out from Diamond. This is going to be the final thing to kill Marvel and everything, because, Diamond can't possibly prop up, one company and like this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, that doesn't sound right. I'm sure if Marvel hasn't been getting involved, there's a reason why they haven't been.
Yeah, they've either been trying to sort out their own thing, because wasn't it also Marvel that said that, like, I know DC said it, but didn't they also say that digital and physical are like two separate like demographics or something?
Yeah. I don't quite remember that quote, but I remember something like that, and you're right.
Yeah, some really weird out-of-date quote.
It's a hell of a thing now, because it's like, wow, there's officially not a monopoly anymore. That's crazy. I never thought I would live to see this day. And also moving forward, it's like, okay, DC, your two new companies whose names escape me now, unfortunately, even though we totally did an episode on this topic. Are you guys going to be running your business the same way Diamond did, not counting digital, only counting stuff that's sold in stores? Or now that Diamond doesn't have a stranglehold on it, will these companies be free now to start getting comic books in places that you don't normally see them, like grocery stores, drug stores, GameStops, etc., etc.? Because, I mean, that's the new frontier there. That's the Wild West of, like, let's put comics places that you don't normally see them.
Yeah, that's going to be very interesting, because then that opens the market up to hundreds of other people, like especially in the international market where like comic book shops, that you're far and few between them. I know that from experience, so it'd be really great to go up to the local mall and like go to the Target or something. It's like, hey, there's comic books here.
And I mean, maybe treat them better than how Walmart treated their comics, but it's an idea. What I've always said, and I know they're having a hard time now too, but movie theaters makes a lot of sense. Like, hey, let me get a ticket for Black Widow, large soda, popcorn, and ooh, is that the new Black Widow issue? Let me read that too before the movie starts.
That would actually be really cool. Yeah, like whenever I know they do that as like promotions, they hand out free comic books. Yeah, it'd be cool to have like a spinner rack in the lobby of the local cinema.
Especially the bigger, higher-end theaters where they got, like, freaking bars and restaurants and arcades and shit already. why not throw in a comic compartment there where it's like, look, you got like 15 minutes to kill before your movie starts and everything. Well, hey, guess what? Doesn't take long to read 22 pages plus ads.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Now, I know the thing, too, where it's like, but our movie theater's going to be here in a little bit, because apparently they're suffering pretty hard, because we're learning that you can put movies out on digital, and they do quite well.
Yeah. Well, remember that they're adamant it's going to open in July because Tenet, but I don't see that happening.
Hey, just in time for my birthday.
You can go to the cinema and see Tenet and get Corona.
Yeah, with my mask on. Oh, I'm really happy for Tenet. Can you believe you have to watch the trailer for this in Fortnite?
Yeah, well, it's a Nolan film, so you got to do the Bane voice.
Yeah. Oh, hello, one for Tenet, please. Yes. Oh, Bane never changed. I love that Harley Quinn show, that's just what their Bane is.
Yeah.
I wonder how Tom Hardy feels looking back on it now. This is your great legacy. People talk like this now to make fun of Bane. Ooh. Like, do you think he just cries himself to sleep, or he's like, nah, I'll redeem myself with Venom, you'll see.
Yeah, I'll finally a comic book movie that won't suck.
Yeah. I mean, see, the new thing where it's like, Broke is making fun of the Bane voice, Woke is making fun of the Venom voice. Yeah, I'm Eddie Brock, look at me. I'm like Bugs Bunny if he got kicked in the head. Yeah, I'm American. Yeah.
I sweat a lot.
Yeah, Annie, the Venom suit. Look at me. I'm an American. Tom Hardy just shouldn't be allowed to do voices in any movie now. Should be the rule. Or only do them is the thing.
Or just, like, not talk at all like he did in Mad Max.
Yeah, which is like a fucking kick-ass role, isn't
it?
Yeah. That's bait. I mean, he did that movie where he played the two twin crime bosses. He should literally just do a movie where he plays everybody and everyone has an equally insane voice.
Everyone is different.
It's like Eddie Murphy with the Clumps. Let's do the Fresh Prince 2020 with Tom Hardy as the the Nutty Professor, not the Fresh Prince. What the fuck am I talking about? As the Nutty Professor with Tom Hardy playing all the different characters in it.
It'll work. It'll work.
It'll be great. Man, I'm half joking, but somewhere Tom Hardy's manager is listening to this. It's like, Tom, I've got a great part for you. You're going to love it.
Yeah, ditch that Venom. This is going to be a franchise.
The Nutty Professor. It's you. It's going to be great. But yeah, there's your Diamond distribution news, everyone. I get the distinct feeling we're going to be hearing more about this as the weeks and months roll on.
Absolutely, yeah. Especially because DC is ramping up their release schedule with heavy metal coming out death metal coming out soon. Heavy death metal.
Yeah,
I get them confused. They should just call them both.
Yeah, I know, right? But we will not be denied event season, Matt. Not while DC is on the case.
Not at all.
Which is definitely good. But yeah, so be sure to keep your eyes pinned to social media and to this very show you're listening to. And we'll be sure to try and get you up to speed more as this story develops. And yeah, don't be surprised if Marvel out of the blue says, hey, we're doing our own thing now as well.
Absolutely. It's only a matter of time.
Only a matter of time. And you can say that, I remember where I was when Diamond Distribution got broken up.
Yeah, I was listening to the comic Multiverse.
As you should be, which, geez, I'm trying to think, even in historical context, what is even comparable to this? I mean, I guess when the studio system got broken up in Hollywood.
I guess so, yeah. That is the most, close comparison with movies and comic books and stuff, yeah.
And even then, with life being fucked up and circular, it's like, yeah, we broke up the studio system, but now also the studio system is kind of coming back again.
Yeah, and AT&T and Disney and all that are buying up everything.
Which, they own the studios that make the movies, and soon they'll own the theaters and everything else, or if they don't already. If theaters are still a thing, though, we don't know. The world is changing, Matt. Well, you slept, the world changed. To say nothing of the unrest out there, but in comics land, this was the biggest story.
Yeah, but you know what else changed?
Was it Batwoman? Did Batwoman change?
Batwoman changed, but not just the actor, the character.
Yes, wow, what a crazy thing. You know, we had talked about this again previously, like I think 2 weeks ago, when we said, oh yeah, you know, their Ruby Rose is out, still under mysterious circumstances. She still hasn't actually opened up about why she left, assumedly a pretty cushy, pretty long tenure deal the way that she did. But yeah, they said, you know, oh, we're gonna recast her. And then rumors of recasting quickly turned into, actually, we're just going to create a brand new character.
Yeah. Way to torpedo your show, guys. Way to torpedo, because, like, any other show, like, it would make sense, like, okay, yeah, I get it. You gotta recast your actor, you might as well make a new character. But here, so much of the show is predicated on Batwoman being Kate Kane. So, like, so many plot points.
And you already put so much time in the crossovers and everything else that now you're just going to lose that. And as we talked about in that episode, guys, there's ways out of this one. You could have, like, Hush change your face and everything. You could have, like, a Doctor Who regeneration. There's ways out of this. You could say residual crisis energy rewrote her and made her a different person. But that's, to quote Dodgeball, it's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off.
Yeah, it was very strange that they decided to do this, and it, as well as, like, because we learned this because they put out like a casting call, like female ages between this and all that. But the thing is that the description is not like anything you would think someone who was Batwoman would be. They were saying, we want someone who's quirky and funny and awkward, and I'm like, that's what.
They say brutal but goofy, and I'm like, those two things don't go together.
That doesn't make any sense.
All right. But then again, the more I'm read this, I'm like, you're describing Sarah Lance. You're describing Sarah Lance from Legends of Tomorrow. She's goofy but brutal.
Yeah.
Which, actually, hey, when Legends ended, they blasted her away. Is she just going to show up and be like, I'm Batwoman now?
That'll be awesome. Crisis energy. It just took her and made her Batwoman.
Fuck it, I'm Batwoman now. And you know what? I'd be like, that is an excellent evolution for you.
You're essentially Batwoman anyway.
More or less. I mean, fuck, they don't even call you White Canary, which you weren't in the comics, and you didn't and it's a whole goddamn thing with you, but you ended up being great anyway. And if anything, if I will give it the benefit of the doubt, it is because of Legends, and that is because Legends became arguably the best CW show, or the most enjoyable. And it ditched the comic stuff a long time ago and just started doing its own thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it became good because it didn't take itself seriously like all these other shows do. It just had fun with all the actors and, you know, all just like having fun on a set somewhere.
So, like, if they veered into that and they're like, fuck it, it's a comedy now, too, that would be interesting. Or if they really, like, Lord and Miller it up, where it's like, hey, you're not Kate. Yeah, I know, I'm not. I'm here now.
Thing is that would be really weird considering who the character is. Like, suddenly, oh, this is now, like, a kind of lighthearted comedy in the vein of Legends. That would be so fucking weird.
To just change it like that, I totally agree. And again, too, it's not like there weren't people from the comics you couldn't have slipped in the role. Bet Kane, who is the cousin of Kate Kane, much in the same way Kate is the cousin of Bruce. She was Firebird or Flamehawk in the New 52. You could have put her in there. It would have been weird to go from a cousin to another cousin. Yeah,
you could have built the whole season around like a new, like something happening to Kate Kane and then a new Batwoman stepping in. You don't know who it is until that last episode or something. Had a whole like mystery of the Batwoman thing. You could have made it Andrea from Mask of the Phantasm.
That would have been a crazy thing. Apparently they already fucked up Julia Pennyworth in the show. Again, I haven't finished watching it yet, but apparently they do use her, but they mess up her biracial origins, and I'm like, oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
Also, too, when the description they sent out there, where it's like, oh, she lives in a van and she's freewheeling and dealing, and I'm like, so she's Harper Row. So
when I heard that, I'm like, oh, she's Daisy Johnson from that first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Even better. There you go. To where I'm like, again, not terrible. Again, I don't know if it's Batwoman, but it's something.
Yeah, it's very strange, very strange. And as I said before, a lot of the plot from that first season, or coming out of that first season, is predicated on Kate Kane. Like you had her sister and like the stuff with her an alternate universe sister coming and then going because of Crisis, and the two sisters battling each other. You have her father like hunting her and now has access to kryptonite, which can stop the Batman suit and everything. You've got Hush. You've got Bruce Wayne who's just come back. All this stuff that's predicated on Kate being there, and now she's not going to be there.
And now she's not going to. It seems very. They like. I can only assume either they're actively trying to kill the show, or it's like, well, we can't do it anymore, but we already signed on for another season and we still want to get paid. Let's just torpedo it and maybe people won't watch it anymore. Or they have a fuck of a Hail Mary play.
I think it's the Hail Mary part. I think someone released this casting call because they knew it would get a backlash, which it has. Right. It's people are like, what the fuck is this? Just cast another Kate Kane, and it'll show the people who wanted a new character that, oh no, we can't do that. We have to have a Kate Kane, so we'll just recast Kate Kane. And why the people in charge didn't think that they needed another Kate Kane, like they need another Kate Kane. Why did they not think of that? Who are these people that didn't think of that?
I know someone kicked around the idea, too, where it's like, well, what if through Crisis shenanigans you get the Golden Age Kathy Kane? And I'm like, you know what? In any other universe, I would say, no, that's too confusing. Audiences wouldn't accept that. You just did Crisis on Infinite Earths. They might accept it, actually.
That's the thing, as we said. It's like the perfect out. It's the perfect... You've got an explanation there. You get, I don't know, fucking Cisco to cameo and say, oh, the Crisis is... Aftershocks, it's happening, and Kate's changed. You just do that.
Which, again, I guess this shows that even, TV writers are learning a lot of comic book tricks and, incorporating a lot of comic book storytelling into their projects. They still haven't mastered the retcon. They still haven't mastered no, that's a layup, man. That's a layup. You just dunk that shit.
Yeah, definitely very interesting, and even more interesting because the big crossover next year is meant to be with Superman and Batwoman. Yeah. So, is that going to change up things?
I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a hell of a development. It really is.
Yeah, if it does change up stuff, get rid of the Batwoman in the crossover and make it like Superman and the Legends.
That would be cool, too. Really just put the Legends in more things in general, honestly.
Yeah. Get them to get over their whole crossover, stigma, and just throw goddamn Nate Hayward doing the thong song dance in fucking in Supergirl or something.
Man, that final episode, man, the Hall of the Greatest Evils in Humankind, the Shake Wake, Cisco's the thong song. right next to, friggin' Stalin and everything.
Yeah.
Twitch Nate's like, that's a banger, that's a lie. And then Cisco literally undersings their battle, and it's fucking amazing. And I'm like, how did this show become the best one?
They just stopped giving a fuck.
They stopped giving a fuck. They totally embraced all the weird shit. Even at the end, they have a retro punk party where she's singing the theme to their Mr. Rogers parody show. And I'm like, why is this amazing?
Yeah, it was so good.
Why is this and then actually make you sad by giving her a good send off? And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna miss Charlie. And then I'm like, well, I missed her when she was Vixen and she left, and then they brought her right back. So
she'll be coming back next season.
Yeah, they'll just fucking call her someone else and bring her back next season. Man, it's gotta suck for Nate too. He has had 2 doomed love interests back to back.
What I really love is that never slows the character down. He never gets he gets sad, but he's never like, I'm so depressed, I'm so angsty and edgy now. He just keeps going. He just keeps going. He's so good.
He's a positive dude. He rolls with the punches. I truly appreciate that. You're absolutely right. Man, speaking of what I said, that he's always got these doomed love interests. You know who tweeted about it? It was the weirdest person you would ever expect to tweet about this, because it's really, they're still watching the show? Jerry Conway.
Yeah, it was Jerry Conway.
And I'm like, oh yeah, because you had a big dispute early on, didn't you, where these CW shows weren't giving you the money you were owed. Then you complained about it, then they did.
And now you're obviously getting the money.
Yeah, where it's either, is he a fan now because it's oh, they're paying me now, or is it no, I gotta watch this shit every week to make sure they're not putting something in here they don't pay me for.
Yeah, maybe it's a bit of both.
In which case, either way, good on you, Jerry. You get your fucking money, Jerry. You've well earned it.
Yeah.
Also, too, Jerry Conway, just a good dude in general. If you follow him on Twitter, he's like trying this new initiative right now where it's like, hey, black creatives of color and everything. Would you like to join me on a project to try and reclaim the Punisher skull from all the D-bags out there who are using it?
I know. I saw that. That was so fucking awesome.
And again, I'm like, fuck yeah, man, you do that. Go check him out on Twitter, everyone, and help him out. I know we got some good creatives in the audience, because, yeah, I absolutely agree with him. The shitbeards out there, they don't get the Punisher skull. They don't deserve to have it.
No, and as well as recently Matthew Rosenberg in his run did a really great piece on that whole thing. That was really great. That definitely got the share around recently.
It sure did. And I know a lot of people were thinking there, it's like, when is Disney just going to step in and like actually, flex their litigious muscle on this one and be like, hey, that's our logo, that's our brand, you can't have it. You're making bootleg versions of it.
I wonder if they actually make money off that. Like just the licensing and stuff.
I don't think they do. Like the thin blue line ones and the fucking American flag one that scum sucking Hannity was wearing. Oh yeah, they get that out of a trunk, which again, if I was Disney, I'd be like, hey, you need to pay us for that or take it the fuck off. Hopefully it's the second one.
They won't do that. They'll say that on social media, but won't do anything about it.
And here's the thing, too. I wonder, because it's the Punisher skull and because the Punisher is not that big a cash cow for them, do they not care as much? But if it was Captain America's shield or, like, Iron Man's helmet, I bet they would care.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I have to imagine as well, like, should they do anything with Punisher in the MCU later down the line, I have to imagine they probably would step in and do something and like, oh, this can make us money. Don't want these people associated with it.
The true irony of the situation is like, you motherfuckers have never read a Punisher comic in your life, because if you did, you would know he hates guys like you as much as anything. He's always fighting against dirty cops and military conspiracies and, skinheads burning crosses and everything. Frank hates you guys.
It's what I call the Jason Todd theory, which is they see the character, he looks fucking awesome, they see pictures of him like blowing drug dealers away and think that's fucking awesome. Don't know fucking thing about the character. Just know that he looks awesome. And
the fact that they have tried really hard, like in the last 5 years, to distance the character from all that shit. I mean, hell, when he became War Machine, he went to Russia and freed people from gulags who were political prisoners and everything. And when he went back to America, he fought Hydra endlessly, our stand-in for neo-Nazis. He fought the mayor of New York, Kingpin, who was a stand-in for you-know-who, and then in the end fought Nick Fury Jr. as like a big like conspiracy, like uncaring government pulling the strings and everything.
Yeah, he's so far and away from the Frank that they think he is. Yeah. And he hasn't been like that for like a good decade.
And then the irony is, too, is that they kind of killed him at the end of that story, / had him go missing, which I feel is almost Disney and Marvel being like, well, let's put him on the back burner then. Ennis can write his in his universe, but we're putting Punisher on the back burner until we think it's time to do something new with him.
Do you reckon maybe as well that might have been something to do with like all of that sort of stuff? Like if we take him away, then he will sort of like die down and you won't see that symbol every now and then.
I didn't at first, but now I do, actually.
Yeah, it was a good way to like, send him off, but yeah, I kind of feel like maybe that's what they were doing there.
Because I know some people I heard, and I don't fully agree with these people, but they were, saying, oh, I think, it's time for Disney and Marvel to do with the Punisher what Disney did with Uncle Remus and Song of the South. And I'm like, okay, it's not that bad. And then I thought to myself, like, well, actually, they had him, he's been off the table for a long time now, and no word or heaven, like, oh my god, maybe they did, actually.
Yeah, I have he's definitely going to come back, but yeah, for a while, not for a while. Ennis will just do his stuff, but yeah.
It's like, let's this shit cool down for a little bit, because the Ennis version is its own thing. He's like, no, I am a Vietnam vet, I am of my time. There's probably not even superheroes that exist in my world. This is a crime comic. It's not a Marvel superhero comic.
No, yeah.
Yeah, so that's that news, everyone. So you got your little fill of socially responsible comic booking this week. Now, what else did we have? We had one more story. We had
Eisners.
Yes, that's right. The Eisners, the big awards given out to comics every year. I thought it would be fun for Matt and myself if we were to go through the nominations because some of our favorite books and some of our favorite writers were nominated. And, of course, as with every year, too, we got to talk about the snubs because there were some surprising snubs, too, this year.
There were some snubs, but also looking through the list, I'm like, oh, wow, this year actually looks like to be unlike last year, which was a complete, self-wank fest.
Yeah, last year was a wank fest. This year is much better. Again, I could talk about, I'll just come out and say it. Donny Cates, nothing for Cates. That's unfortunate.
No. Yeah,
but putting in stellar work.
I know, it's so strange. I was sure I was going to see his name up there with, like we got Immortal Hulk with Al Ewing and all that. We got Chip Zdarsky is up there for Daredevil, which is absolutely warranted.
Oh, yeah. Those guys definitely come to mind. Those guys totally deserve it. In fact, you know what? I got a good feeling about Zdarsky. I think this is his year because it's just, everything he touched killed it.
Everything. Absolutely.
There was not, not a low card in that deck. And I'm sure if he does win, he will do something very funny when he accepts the award.
Oh, I absolutely. I'm looking for. I hope he does He did a video talking about comics, and it was shot. He shot it all himself, and it was just the most funniest thing ever. He needs to do something like that for an award speech.
He's up for Best Writer along with other show favorites like G. Willow Wilson, who did Invisible Kingdom. And something for Dark Horse as well. I didn't read that one, but I might have to check that one out. Also, Canada's own Mariko Tamaki with Harley Quinn Breaking Glass, which I have not read, but maybe I should now that it's up for an Eisner. See, that's why I like the Eisners too, everyone, because it lets me see, maybe I should read that, or, ooh, that was on my list. I guess I'll have to check it out now.
One thing I am really upset that isn't actually on there is Superman Smashes the Klan by Gene Yang.
Ooh. Oh yeah, that got robbed. That's a fucking mugging is what that one is. That one definitely deserved to be on here. If not even for writing, then for the art, because both of those were excellent. You know what? Hey, in the Comic Multiverse Awards, the Verses, that one definitely gets the stamp of approval.
The Verses. We gotta do something like that one year. Do a whole award show.
We totally do. Someone tell what was it? Gene
Yang.
Gene Yang. Someone tell Gene Yang he won the first annual Verses for best book. He'll look at it and be like, "What the fuck are they talking about?" Thank you, I guess. David F. Walker got not one but two very nice nominations. One for Naomi, which is great, and a book I know you love to no end.
Yes, it was great.
Arguably the best thing Bendis has done at DC, maybe second best next to Batman Universe, but really good, and I'm glad he gets that nomination, as well as Bitterroot, which was his creator-owned series.
Yes.
I read the first issue of, and I kept meaning to go back to, but good for him. He's just a really nice, really good dude, really approachable. If you ever see him at a comic convention, you should talk to him, because he's just that personable.
There is lots on here that I've read the first issue, and it was really good, and I never got time to go back. Undiscovered Country by Scott Snyder and Charles Soule.
Right,
that first issue was really good. Once in Future by Kieran Gillen was really good as well.
Criminal by Ed Brubaker. I'm like, that's still going?
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, why did I think Criminal ended? And its best continuing series. Same with The Dreaming, which, of course, is another one in the big DC revival of Dream and all that other stuff. But, some cool stuff on here. Definitely. Again, Jeff Lemire for Ascender, so there you go, another Canadian getting some love. Doctor Doom by Christopher Cantwell, which I have not read, though I do believe got collected into a trade just recently.
Yeah, and it's I keep meaning to read it because people were saying it's really good, but then also I'm like, well, we've got Steve Orlando coming over to do some Doctor Doom stuff, so yeah, I don't know.
I know I was really bitter about reading this Doctor Doom. I'm like, no, he was a good guy in the in his Iron Man book, and he had all this growth and development. No, I don't want to read him just back as a bad guy again. That feels like stepping back in a story, but apparently it's pretty good. So
yeah.
So maybe I'll just have to get over myself and read it, which I feel as comic critics and, dick joke journalists, that's something we got to do sometimes. We just got to get over ourselves and read The Thing. I will go and read The Thing. But yeah, there's your Eisners, everybody. Be sure to go check that out. I hope some of the books you're really enjoying and some of the creators you really like got nominated as well.
Yeah, good smattering of creations on there.
Much better than last year's.
Definitely. Oh, last year's was just awful.
It was pretty fucking bad last year. I noticed we were once again not nominated for Best Comic-related periodical / journalism, which is also a mugging and a shame. But don't worry, I hereby award us the first annual Versi for Best Comic-related periodical or journalism. Yes, we can give it to ourselves.
Don't worry, this time next year, our Assassin's Talk part will get an Eisner.
Yeah, that would be the thing. And nominated for award is this podcast within a podcast. None of the comic stuff you've done for 200 episodes. This podcast within a podcast bullshit is what gets nominated. That would be perfect. That would be very, very, very apt, I do believe. That's fun. So, yeah, I guess that's all the big news that happened this week. We can talk about what we read. I read some stuff. I didn't read everything, I hate to say. I still have like 2 or 3 books sitting around. It's getting interesting now trying to balance the digital stuff, but also like the new release stuff as well.
Yeah, and it also doesn't help. And I said this a couple of weeks ago that like DC are releasing on Tuesdays now and Marvel release on Wednesdays, I think, or like whenever.
Yeah, it's
it seems
confusing.
But yeah, and then we've also got those DC digitals, which is every day of the week.
Yeah, which thank God for that. What is it? Because like I said, I don't know if I said it on mic or said it to you, where it's like, oh, my numbers are down across the board. Thank God I had these at all. If not, I might have been fucked. And also, thank you for the patrons, because I made more money in Patreon this month than I actually did from doing YouTube. So when I eat this month and turn the lights on, it was because of you guys.
Powered by Patreon.
Powered by Patreon. Never have those words been truer than they were these last couple months. I'm thankful to say now that we're getting a nice influx of new books every month, I'm kind of starting to see my channel reacclimate to what it was.
Same. I'm seeing my numbers go back up as like new books come out, and I think this next coming week we actually have like the most like proper releases since this whole thing started.
It's funny. I'm actually having people who became fans of my shit when I was just throwing it together with like, hey Joel, when are you gonna do another commercial stream? Or hey Joel, when are you gonna watch more My Hero Academia? I'm like, when I can find the time. That was me grasping for straws, everybody. Whenever I got a grasp again. I guess where do we want to start with new books this week? Again, I only read 3 and they were all DC.
Oh really? Which ones did you read?
I read the Batman Superman #9.
Yeah, this was a cool new beginning to a new story with Atomic Skull.
Yeah, feels like this is what Joshua Williamson actually wanted to write, and not that like Secret Six infected bullshit that went nowhere.
Yeah, we're past that. We're past that now, which is good.
And he's got some fun, creative ideas for Batman and Superman that I quite appreciate.
Yeah, I really like this. I like the voice he put for these 2 characters when they don't have to talk about like the Batman who laughs or the infected or anything. It's like he's free to do what he wants. Definitely.
And also, some really nice attention to continuity that I was not expecting. This Batman actually spends a good chunk of this issue talking about the city of Bane and how it's affected the city.
I like that because that's probably like one of the first times City of Bane has actually been referenced outside of the City of Bane and its tie-ins.
Yes, and that it was, referenced and didn't make me angry. And then I'm reminded, oh yeah, Joshua Williamson, you kind of wrote some of that Tom King stuff, didn't you, in the weird Flash Batman crossover? So I guess
which was good.
Yeah, which were like some of the only bright spots, as far as I'm concerned. So I guess he had an invested interest, and also he remembers, oh yeah, wasn't Atomic Skull like a good guy the last little bit?
Yeah, I've loved him as like a supporting character from the end of the New 52 through Rebirth. How he's been sort of reacclimated into like a good guy, or like a guy who just wants to do good now. Mm-hmm. And they kept that going until he blows up.
Until he blows up, but he was still kind of good, because as Superman says, yes, the city was nuked, but not the toxic kind of radiation, just a very particular type of radiation. And oh good, all those buildings that got blown up, they were empty anyway because of City of Bane.
Yeah, City of Bane and Wayne taking parts of the city and reorganizing them in Tynan's book.
Yeah, that's right, there you go, it all kind of works out, and ultimately, we discover that the real mastermind behind all of this is the Ultra Humanite, which is a villain we have not seen in what feels like forever.
Yeah, it has been forever. He's been like hiding out in like Gotham Harbor, like making like weird like religious atomic skulls that he hangs on crosses and turns people into like atomic skulls, which he's planning on using to like turn Batman against Superman.
Yes, he's trying to build an army, and this feels like the Underpants Gnomes plot, where it's like, step 1, kidnap atomic skull, step 2, ? Step 3, profit. That's a big middle step there you're skipping there, Ultra Humanite, but alright. Yeah, he looks great in this book too. Henry did the art for this one, and this is a really nice looking book.
Yeah, it's very, very nice looking.
Just a good old-fashioned Superman-Batman team-up story that I liked. And I also liked Batman kind of have to eat crow for a little bit there when he's like, Atomic Skull, you've broken bad again. You're a criminal like all the others. Oh, no, wait, you were telling the truth. Shit.
Yeah, right. These SWAT guys are actually like weird zombie drones.
Yeah, weird zombie monster drones.
I like his reasoning for a little bit of detective work there. He's like, that's not the right SWAT armor. That's armor from before City of Bane. Wayne Enterprises gave them new armor.
Yeah, geez, isn't it nice that Batman pays attention?
Yeah, he actually thinks things through.
Yeah, isn't that nice? It's always nice to see. But yeah, Batman Superman number 9, off to a good start for this newest arc. I'm interested to see where it goes.
Yeah.
What else did you have, Matt?
I had Shazam issue 12.
See, I haven't read that yet, but it looks good. This is one of the Jeff John-less filler issues, but it looks like they actually use it to tell a fun team-up story.
Yeah, so this is Jeff Loveness telling a story that takes place before issue 1 of Shazam. And it sees Billy fighting the Crocodile Man, and Freddy keeps like talking about like how his villains suck, and it's like you only have like 3 villains, and like one's like a caterpillar, and it's like 2 are only really like a big threat, being Savannah and Black Adam, and Billy is like, yeah, I'm fine with like fighting these things, and Freddy actually says something really cool. It's like you have the power to do more, but you need to want to do more, and obviously you don't want to do more. You're fine stuck in that rut, just fighting weird crocodile men and whatnot. So to prove Freddy wrong, Billy goes to Gotham, and he goes looking for a team up with Batman, and he hears about Scarecrow taking some people hostage. So he goes and confronts Scarecrow, and he's kind of cocky about it because he's like, oh, you're literally a man who dresses up like a scarecrow. This is really unfair to you.
I am Earth's mightiest mortal. Bring it.
Yeah, but Scarecrow actually ends up getting the drop on him and infecting him with the fear toxin. And Jonathan's really interested because he's like, I've seen how it affects people, and it's kind of boring because it's always the same. But I want to see how this toxin infects someone who's literally a Greek god.
Love it.
And it causes him to like go insane, and he starts seeing things, and it's really cool how it's done because it shows like Billy trapped inside the lightning bolt on Shazam's chest, and he can't like get out. Batman arrives and ends up like fighting Scarecrow, but he also gets gassed, and the two of them end up sharing sort of like the fear. And it's actually really cool because Batman tells Billy to embrace that fear and use it to overcome it.
Embrace the fear, embrace it.
Yeah, kind of like how he did. And they end up like fighting Scarecrow and knocking him out, and they end up talking after that. And Batman actually imparts some wisdom to him, telling him that he chose to become Batman when he was Billy's age. But Billy has time on his side, and he needs to use that time to figure out if this is what he wants to be, and if he does, then he needs to use that power.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
Yeah, and he doesn't count this as a team up because he only teams up with Superman.
Tish.
Yeah, it was a really cool issue.
Yeah, I like that. Nice one and done in a day and age when we don't get as many nice one and dones.
Yeah, I also like. I'm sure if you review it, and you'll probably get the same comments where people have this weird stigma with filler, where it's like, "Ooh, filler, ew, it can't be like important to the character or anything." Why should I need to read this? I'm like, it's a really damn good book. I'd read it.
I mean, I get what people are saying because like when we left off.
I know,
Shazam,
yeah.
All hope was lost. All of his villains had broken through. There was Superboy Prime, and I'm like, well, Bendis is a busy man. Unfortunately, he needed someone to fill in. This is sequential art, everybody. Did you want a clip show? We could do a clip show.
Yeah, we could bring Billy on with Troy McClure, and he could do really. Behind the lightning bolt.
Scott Lobdell could write an issue. Do you want Scott Lobdell to write an issue? Yeah, I didn't think so. So I also had Detective Comics this week as we're on a big old Batman kick. And man, this issue was crazy. This issue went places I was not expecting.
I haven't read this one yet.
Okay, so I will try and not spoil it too thoroughly for you. I'll just try and hit the bullet points. So Batman continues to fight Two-Face and his newly formed cult dedicated to flipping the coin and deciding whether or not they'll do good or bad in the city.
Yep.
And we see that like Harvey's deteriorated even more now to where he started like mutilating the half of his body with the scar on it completely.
Ugh, yuck.
Oh, yeah, he's getting really fucking freaky. He's actually looking more like his Arkham counterpart, actually, the Arkham video game universe.
Oh, wow, they're so all scabby and shit.
Yeah, where I'm like, hey, Tomasi, you wrote for those comics, didn't you? Is this you, like, trying to canonize this? Because that's what it kind of feels like to me, and Batman does the most reckless but totally Batman shit I've ever seen, where Two-Face is trying to lower him into some acid, and he's like, surely if I burn the other side of your face, you'll see things from my point of view. And Batman willingly lets himself get lowered into acid so it'll burn through his robe so he can push the vat of acid over from the inside to, like, make Two-Face and his henchmen scatter.
Oh, Batman, you crazy.
Yeah, I'm like, that is the most Batman thing, like, yes, lowered into acid, just like I wanted.
You're falling into my trap, Two-Face.
Yeah, you've activated my trap card. And he literally walks around the rest of the issue with his suit like half burnt off him.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I'm like, that's a cool image. I like that. And also kind of like the Arkham video game.
Yeah, where he gets battle damage through the game.
What's up with that? And eventually, the latter half of the issue is we finally discover the mystery of how Two-Face survived shooting himself in the head at the end of Batman Two-Face that Tomasi wrote all the way back in the New 52.
Yeah.
And I won't spoil it for you, but let's just say multiple other villains get involved, and it turns out it's part of a much bigger, crazier conspiracy.
Oh, no. The bullet was placed there by the CIA, and...
Like, kinda, and, like, also, like, the Court of Owls is involved, and this is
oh, fuck it all.
Yes, and apparently this also ties into Joker War somehow.
Oh my god. I know Joker War is getting tie-ins with Detective Comics. I didn't know this tied into it.
Well, this is apparently kicking it off, because literally the final page is Joker with dynamite blowing up a piece of the city and finding, like, a Court of Owls antechamber.
Oh, fuck it all.
And I'm like, I was really not expecting the story to go here. I thought this was just Tomasi finishing a story he started like 5 years ago. But no.
What a twist.
Yeah, that's just a springboard to some new crazy shit.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
That's cool. And I'm like, I have no idea where this story is going, but I cannot wait to get there.
Yeah, his goddamn detective run has been so damn good. It's been so varying. In like what like stories he's telling.
Yeah, it's true. You don't know what you're gonna get. I don't think people appreciate it as much as like Tynan's run from before, but I think he's turning in good work.
Yeah, he's using the detective comic part of, he's more of a detective in this, which I really appreciate, because Tynan's Batman run, while good, it's fucking action. He's fighting fucking Deathstroke in the street with bat drones and whatnot and stuff like that.
Well, I was talking about, like, Tynan's detective run, where it was, like, a bat family.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, yeah, even comparing it to the current Batman book, where it's like, yeah, this is a blockbuster movie.
Yeah.
And where this one's kind of like a slower, more, more indie film.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I've always felt that's how it should be, you know. The Batman book should be the superhero book, and Detective Comics should be the crime book.
Yeah, much like how Superman should be the Superman action book, whereas Action Comics should be about the supporting characters, which is a great segue into the next comic.
Hey, hit me with it.
Which was Action Comics issue 1022, which was, again, more about the supporting characters around Superman. This is the House of Kent's beginning, where Superman's trying to figure out what the deal is with Connor Kent, trying to find out who he is, and we learn that Connor is from this Earth, but not this Earth. It's from the Earth before the reboot. So he's kind of like confirmation that the universes are being rebooted. So Superman takes him to the Hall of Justice and meets with like Will Magnus, Ray Palmer, all the smart people, and they're all really ecstatic because they're like, I told you, universe has been rebooted. I told you, all my theories are correct.
A big blue man with his dong out did it.
They come to the point where Superman asks like who raised Connor, and he tells them it was Ma and Pa Kent, because that's how it was in before the New 52, where Superman set him up with Ma and Pa Kent on the farm. Right. They go to the farm, and the Kents remember him.
Oh, yeah, because they're alive now.
Yeah. The Kents actually remember him, but they can't remember him fully. And as Pa Kent, it's explains it's like when someone starts talking about something, you start remembering it. And it's like that when as they talk with Connor, they start remembering like memories of him losing the tractor in the lake and all this stuff. But still, Superman can't remember Connor at all, and he doesn't know why. While all this is happening, we get this really damn good story with the Daily Planet, where Perry is like, obviously they've just revealed that they're being run by the Invisible Mafia. So it's kind of torpedoed the paper, and he's still intent on putting out a paper because that's their job. They serve the public. They need to do this. Steve Lombard ends up quitting the Daily Planet because he's angered that Perry did this to them, kind of torpedoed their job, and kind of made it so like the Daily Planet probably won't exist in the next couple of days. He's angered that Perry didn't tell him, and Perry's like, well, I'm sorry your feelings are hurt, but there's more important things here than your feelings, Steve. But yeah, that's really cool. Lois gets a tip about Leon and the Daily Planet, and ends up going to her creepy mansion where they find that weird soundproof pod that they were using so they could talk. And in it she finds all of the Invisible Mafia are dead, except for Leon, who's still alive, who has sent Red Cloud to kill Lois Lane.
Wah wah.
But yeah, this issue was actually really damn good because, and it's absolutely true because the art is so much better from John Romita Jr. They had extra time because of the delays. The art, like you compare issues 1021 and issue 1022, the art is like night and day. Like there's crazy actual like shading and lighting, and it actually looks really damn good.
Extra time made a book better, you don't say.
yeah. It's almost like John Romita Jr., when given time, puts in good work, but when put on a bi-monthly book, he's not good.
Wah wah. Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear you're actually kind of enjoying Superman again.
Yeah, well, his Superman book is fine. I really enjoy what they're doing with the Secret Identity, but yeah, Action Comics there for a long time was just complete shit.
Yeah. So, what else did I have? Ooh, I had Justice League Dark, and this is the last of the new books I read.
Oh, I haven't read this one yet.
Pretty solid, continuing this whole, all the parliaments are at war storyline right now. There's a really good bit in here with Dr. Fate, because he kind of provides, like, the overarching story for it. Because Fate is Khalid again, right? He's the young kid version. And he goes all the way to Tanzania to meet a member of the Maasai race, to take him up a big mountain where apparently the Maasai people have told the story for years that this is where their ancestors met God. But they didn't really meet God, they just met Dr. Fate. Though it was so long ago, Fate was not a doctor, nor a lord, not a pharaoh.
Oh, really? What was he?
Well, he was just Fate at that point. He had no titles. This is like at the dawn of time, at the dawn of humanity. And Khalid goes there because that is where he meets the original elemental gods, the spirits of fire, water, vapor, and everything else. And apparently these old African gods, which makes sense because Africa is like the birthplace of the human race, where the oldest skeletons were found, only these guys have the power to call together a meeting of all the parliaments, as it was in the beginning, to restore order.
Yeah, when the parliament needs to listen to these guys.
Exactly. This is like the parliament's boss. I'm like, that's cool. Did Moore write this, or is this some new shit?
Yeah, that sounds like new shit. That sounds like something I would know about, but yeah, that sounds like really cool.
I like that idea because, yeah, you got the avatars who work for their parliaments, and the parliaments talk to, like the actual elementals themselves.
Who I imagine then talk to God.
Yeah, who talk to, the presence or whatever the heck it is in the DC universe. They're fast and loose. We know angels exist, but Justice League Dark has done very little talking about heaven. And we know the devil exists, too. So it's a hell of a thing, and Animal Man gets a really cool moment. I won't spoil it for you, but he gets to be a big hero. He gets to cite precedent and ends up saving everyone from the Last of Us zombies.
Awesome.
That's cool. Constantine ends up managing to rescue Abigail Arcane from wherever she's hiding, so she comes back in her rot form, and she's going to be fighting her father, and that's cool.
Awesome. That's what I was really looking forward to.
Yeah, I definitely hear more of Ram V's voice in this one than I heard Tynan. I don't know if he's fully given the book over to him yet or if it's more of a gradual thing, but I definitely hear his voice more in this.
Yeah, probably a bit too busy with Joker War and making sure Punchline is a good character.
Yeah, after this. And Clown Killer or Clown Hunter. I love the concept of Clown Hunter. Just a guy in Gotham who hates clowns. It makes sense. But yeah, Justice League Dark was good. This works as part of the arc, and it also kind of works on its own, too, as this really interesting little, humanitarian treatise about how, we all need each other from all the different parliaments, be you creatures big or small. Without us, who will live, who will die, who will tell your story.
Yeah, everyone serves a purpose and serves someone else.
Yeah, it's very nice, actually. I'm like, oh, this is kind of a cool way to show the balance of your universe and everything.
Yeah.
How sometimes the parliaments fight, but ultimately they need each other.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Also, hey, can Animal Man stick around on the team now? Because it doesn't look like you're going to magic Swamp Thing back to life, so can Buddy Baker just join the team? Yeah,
that'd be really cool if he did fill in that Swamp Thing thing. Because, but Buddy doesn't get enough love. He never really appears in anything, but when he does, it's always really fun.
Yeah, and it's funny, too, because when he showed up in this story, he just showed up. It's not like, oh, let's catch up with Animal Man and see what he's been up to. No, it's just Animal Man's here. Everybody.
Yeah, he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, or right time.
Yeah, and I'm just like, no, I want to know what's up with him. Hey, we got to do a story for our Catwoman universe book we make where Catwoman goes to space. She's got to team up with Animal Man because he can be a cat and he could make Selena a cat, maybe.
Yeah, have it really trippy.
Yeah, have it totally, go back to Coyote Gospel. Ooh, call that our cat gospel. And yeah, just make it about, what if Selena was a cat? And I know people are like, well, didn't they do that in Batman the Animated Series? And isn't that, considered one of the worst episodes? Yeah, but not like that, though. That's when they went to the island of Dr. Moreau. This would be different.
Yeah, this would be good.
This will be good, yeah. So that's every book I read this week. I've been very slow getting around to shit, I will admit.
Nice. Did you didn't read the new Deceased issue, Hope at World's End?
No, but I did skim through it, though. I know this one looks to be talking about Black Adam and how he's going to be, the overarching villain for this digital series, it seems. Yeah,
it was actually a really cool issue. So we caught up with Karndark and what happened, and Black Adam did a pretty good job keeping that virus at bay. He immediately realized that it was a techno virus, so he got his people, because it's a dictatorship, he got his people to cut the internet off, which he could do with the single push of a button.
Hey, he's a strongman dictator, but he keeps the trains running on time and keeps the zombies out.
Yeah, but obviously people did get infected, so he went out and he did what no other hero was able to do or had the stones to do, and that is he killed about 1 million of his own people to stop this virus. And it worked. It worked. It saved Kahndaq. Kahndaq was fine. He wasn't too happy that he had to do that because he had to kill his own people. But it saved the people. And because of that, the other heroes like Superman and Martian Manhunter and all that learn that Kahndaq is fine. So they come to Kahndaq to talk to Black Adam about giving these other people refuge. Black Adam tells them to fuck off because, you know, they won't do what's necessary to save these people. So why should he let them in when they could compromise his police state?
I mean, firm but fair, right?
So yeah, he makes them leave, and then he goes back to his castle and turns back into a human. And he's like, I want to walk amongst the people and see what they think of me and how they are. And he goes into the city and he finds that the people are utterly terrified of Black Adam because of what he did. And they say what he did is Black Adam's attack, and that really doesn't sit well with him, and he doesn't like it. He ends up meeting a woman whose son is ill. And he goes to see his son, and her son is infected. And before Black Adam can say his magic word, he gets attacked and turned. Oops. And he gets turned while he's transforming into Black Adam. So when Black Adam becomes Black Adam, he is now a zombie.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. If he just hadn't said the word, it would have just been a normal person.
That doesn't sound good for anybody.
No, but yeah, no, it was really cool to see Tom Taylor talk about Black Adam in this light, where he's like, yeah, he's got a firm hand on these people, but he hates that he has to do that, but he knows that that's the right thing to do.
Man, pretty timely, you know, when we look at how dictatorships all around the world deal with actual pandemics that are really happening.
Yeah.
Too real, man, but sounds like a good story. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, and the final book I read this week was the final issue of Force Works, which was the digital issue.
Right.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. They're fighting Ultimo, and they're teaming up with MODOK, which the team learn is a bad idea because MODOK is kind of the one behind this whole revolution on this island. He came to the island. He made the Deathlocks to hunt down Ultimo because he wants Ultimo. But the Deathlocks, thanks to this robot revolution that's going on in the larger Iron Man story, they turned on him, and they turned on Ultimo. So there's all these different factions fighting for control, and he ends up teaming with the Force Works, and he gives Rhodey like this weapon that will fire radiation at Ultimo that will stop him. Rhodey ends up doing that and blows Ultimo's head off, which was what MODOK wanted the whole time, because he then puts his body on Ultimo's charred corpse and reanimates it. And Daisy makes this really funny joke where he's like, he went from a guy who had a big head and a small body to a guy who's now got a small head and a big body. So yeah, Ultimodok is what he calls himself.
That's a good name.
He's like trying to kill the Force Works because he wants War Machine because he's got that new weapon, and he wants Daisy because Daisy, her and US Agent's plan was to enact the Poseidon Protocols, which was if they couldn't kill the Deathlocks or Ultimo or any of that, they were to sink the island before anything gets off of it.
Makes sense.
Daisy doesn't want to do that because there's innocents on the island, and John Walker's like, America, fuck you.
Fuck yeah. Not fuck yeah, America, fuck you.
Yeah, so they're like stuck in a bunker for like a big chunk of the issue while they sort of sort out what to do, and that's where they find the Deathlock files, all the files that MODOK had, and John wants to take them for Maria Hill because Maria Hill is like kind of an evil bitch at the moment.
I mean, still, also, is he still working for her? I forgot where Maria Hill ended up.
Yeah, she's still really evil. She's an Amanda Waller, basically.
Yeah. Where did she even land? Because S.H.I.E.L.D's not a thing anymore. Is she just running this op?
Yeah, she's just running. She's like the leader of Force Works now and kind of like running it like a Suicide Squad. Like in that first issue, Solo was on the team and he quit because of what she was doing and everything. And remember Solo?
That's a good fit. Vaguely. Remember the Works for Money? Vaguely.
Yeah, they end up killing killing MODOK by like sealing him in a fissure in the ground, and they return to Maria, and she wants the files. So John gives her the drive after the team call him like a traitor and everything because he's just doing his patriotic duty because America and apple pie and whatnot.
Yeah, don't you know?
but as it turns out, he didn't actually have the files. Bobby had them on her stick, and he had a blank one, and he just gave it to her so Maria would send in the scrub team and destroy everything on the island so no one can have the files, even her. And he delivers a great line because Maria Hill the whole time is calling him like, oh, he's a loyal grunt and everything, and he's like, oh, well, guess I'm just a dumb grunt, you know? Oh, I don't know the difference between a USB stick and a full USB stick, you know? Yeah, it was a cool ending to the book, and I like that. Like throughout the whole book, US Agent is kind of a dick, and then at the end he kind of redeems himself a little bit. Kind of knows that like no one should have all this Deathlock technology and everything. But yeah, when it in connection to like Iron Man 2020, there's like no connection except War Machine's on the team. That's it.
That's about it. Which, man, I guess that story's got to be coming to a close soon, also, doesn't it?
I was at the end of these issues. They've got like that checklist. There's like books on there. I'm like, wait, that's out. Like, that's like, are they just skipping books now? I know the Ironheart one came out and it like came and went. And I wasn't too interested in that one, but yeah, there's like books. I'm like, really, we're that far down the list? I don't remember reading any of these.
Well, I know they said that they were, like, finishing this one online. Did they just dump this one early or something because it was done?
That's what I think, maybe. Like, because, yeah, there's, like, books in that are, like, ticked off in that thing, and it's like, wait, that definitely has not come out yet. That definitely has not. So maybe that's what it is. They're like, we have this, we'll just put it out.
Release it out of order. Well, there it is. I'm glad you liked it. I'll have to check that one out because I like Matthew Rosenberg, and when I interviewed him, he talked forever about how, like, writing Force Works was something he wanted to do for a very long time.
It was great. It's sad that it's only, like, a 3-issue mini, because I was hoping it was going to kind of, like, spin out into, like, its own thing. But, like, at the end of the book, the team is disbanded. And I'm sure they could work it so it's like, oh, no, the team comes back together or something.
If it sells well, it's always if it sells well, and there seems to be an interest in it.
Yeah.
So you just have to go out and buy every copy of it so it sells. Well, actually, maybe it didn't sell well because they dumped the last one online, so...
Yeah.
Maybe that's the death nail in it, unfortunately. So is that it then, Matt? Is that everything?
That's everything.
Oh, well, so thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Sorry we couldn't have a live show this week, but you know what? Them's the breaks. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We hope we brought a little fun and levity into your life in these trying times. Would you like a podcast, man? These trying times. We can offer you one. So thank you so much for watching and listening. As always, if you're a patron, you'll get to listen to this one first before anyone else, for as little as $1 a month over on Patreon. Again, thank you, Patreon, so much. You've literally been lifesavers in these last 2 months, and I appreciate it. What else? For everyone else, it's Wednesday, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time without fail. So, yeah, you can listen to that then.
Yeah, thank you for listening here. Yeah, as Joel said, sorry couldn't be live this week, but we'll make it up to you next week.
Yeah. Maybe we will do a Patreon commentary next week or something, depending on news. Again, we were going to do Ant-Man this week, and then the Diamond news dropped, and I'm like, well, we can't not do this.
Yeah.
So here's hoping nothing crazy or seismic happens next week that hijacks our plan. But who knows? It's 2020. Anything can fucking happen.
Yeah, the fucking angels are going to come now.
Yeah. Oh, what's that? The sky's raining blood, you say? Huh. The death of the firstborn son? Huh.
Yeah, was a swarm of locusts? What?
Man, I love those murder hornets. Where, like, remember for like a week everyone was scared of murder hornets? Then the murder hornets came in, saw everything else that was going on. They're like, ooh, we will be back. We can read the room. Sorry.
Yeah. We're going to sit this one out. We'll come back in 2021.
We'll come back. 2021, year of the murder hornet. I don't have that in my Chinese astrology chart, but I'll just pencil that in. Year of the murder hornet. And on that note, everyone, from all us murder hornets here to all you murder hornets out there, thanks for watching. Oh man, that's a good name for our fan base, the Murder Hornets.
The Murder Hornets.
No one will get it. It will be excellent. It'll just be for us. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.